The smell of coffee and bacon grease clung to my uniform as I wiped down table 7. It was 6:30 in the morning and the diner was starting to fill with the usual crowd. Then, the bell above the door rang, and I knew without looking who had just walked in. Derek stood there, face pale as paper, hands trembling at his sides. He rushed toward me, voice cracking. "Please, Juliana, do not do this. I will do anything." I kept wiping the table. I did not look up. Before I begin this story, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you have ever felt invisible in your own home, if you have ever been told your sacrifices do not count, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Trust me, you will want to stay for this one, because what I did next changed everything. Let me take you back 10 months to the moment my life started falling apart. Derek and I had been married for 8 years when everything changed. When we first got together, he was the kind of man who opened doors and remembered anniversaries. He promised me the world, said he would take care of everything if I just trusted him. And I did. I trusted him completely. When our daughter Sophie was born 6 years ago, we made a decision together. At least that is what I thought at the time. Derek sat me down one evening, held my hands, and said the words I thought were filled with love. "You focus on Sophie," he told me. "I will handle everything else. You just be the best mom you can be." So I quit my job as an accountant at a small firm downtown. I traded spreadsheets for diaper changes, business meetings for playdates. I poured every ounce of myself into our daughter and our home. I woke up before everyone to make breakfast. I cleaned, I cooked, I organized. I drove Sophie to school, picked her up, helped with homework, gave baths, read bedtime stories. I managed doctor appointments, grocery shopping, birthday parties, holiday preparations. I did it all, and for the first few years, it worked. Derek came home to a clean house and a warm meal. Sophie was thriving. We seemed happy. I thought we were building something beautiful together. But about 2 years ago, something shifted. Derek got promoted to team lead at his company. His salary increased significantly, and suddenly he was working longer hours, traveling more for business. I was proud of him at first. I thought his success was our success. Then the comments started. Small things, really. I would mention being tired after a long day with Sophie, and he would say, "Must be nice to just stay home all day." I would ask him to watch Sophie for an hour so I could take a bath, and he would sigh like I was asking for the moon. "What did you even do today?" he would ask when he spotted a few toys scattered on the living room floor. I tried to explain. I tried to tell him that being a stay-at-home mom was not a vacation, that managing a household was a full-time job without weekends or sick days, that I was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He would just shake his head. "My mom raised 4 kids and still worked part-time," he would say. "You only have one." Those words stung more than I wanted to admit. I started second-guessing myself. Maybe I was not doing enough. Maybe I was lazy. Maybe he was right. 10 months ago, Sophie came home from school with stars in her eyes. Her best friend Emma had started taking dance classes, and Sophie desperately wanted to join. She showed me videos on my phone, twirling around the kitchen, begging me with that sweet voice that always melted my heart. "Please, Mommy, please can I learn to dance like Emma? The classes cost $150 a month." I brought it up to Derek that evening after Sophie went to bed. I thought it would be a simple conversation. Our daughter wanted something enriching, something that would make her happy. We could afford it. Derek looked at me with cold eyes. "If you want her to have nice things," he said, "maybe you should contribute something." I felt like I had been slapped. I reminded him that I was contributing. I was raising our child. I was maintaining our home. I was doing everything that allowed him to focus on his career without worrying about anything else. He laughed. Not a warm laugh, a dismissive one. "You do not deserve to be tired if you do not earn anything," he said. "Being tired is for people who actually work." I sat there in silence, swallowing the lump in my throat. I thought about arguing, about listing everything I did. But I looked at Sophie's bedroom door, thought about her dancing around the kitchen, and made a decision. "Fine," I said. "I will get a job." Derek smiled, satisfied like he had won something. He said he would help with Sophie on the days I worked. He said it would be good for me to get out of the house and do something productive for once. Within a week, I found a job at Rosie's Diner, a small restaurant about 20 minutes from our house. The only shift available was the early morning one, 4 a.m. to 12 p.m., 5 days a week. I would have to wake up at 3 in the morning to get ready and make the drive. I took it anyway, for Sophie, for her dream of dancing. Working at Rosie's Diner was nothing like my old accounting job. There were no comfortable chairs, no climate-controlled offices, no lunch breaks spent chatting with colleagues. There was just hard physical labor from the moment I walked in until the moment I clocked out. I would arrive at 4 in the morning while the world was still dark. The first hour was preparation. Setting up tables, brewing coffee, prepping the kitchen, making sure everything was spotless for the morning rush. By 6, the customers would start pouring in. Truck drivers grabbing breakfast before hitting the road. Construction workers fueling up for long shifts. Office employees stopping by for coffee and pancakes. I spent 8 hours on my feet, carrying heavy trays, wiping down tables, dealing with customers who ranged from friendly to downright rude. There was one regular who always complained his eggs were too runny no matter how they were cooked. Another who snapped his fingers at me like I was a dog. I smiled through it all, pocketed my tips, and counted down the hours. By the time I got home around 12:30, my feet were screaming and my back ached. But my day was far from over. I still had to clean the house, do laundry, prepare dinner, and be ready for Sophie when she got home from school. Derek never lifted a finger to help. "You wanted this job, remember," he would say if I asked him to throw in a load of laundry or start dinner. I stopped asking. I was sleeping maybe 4 or 5 hours a night. I lost weight without trying. Dark circles became permanent fixtures under my eyes, but no one in my house seemed to notice. Or maybe they just did not care. Around this time, I started hearing a new name in our house. Megan. Megan was a colleague of Derek's, someone he had known since before we got married. He always called her his best friend, assured me there was nothing romantic between them. "She is like a sister to me," he used to say. I had met her a few times over the years at company events. She was attractive, confident, always laughing at Derek's jokes a little too hard. But I trusted my husband. I told myself not to be the jealous wife. But now that I was working, Megan seemed to be around more and more. Derek mentioned casually that Megan had picked up Sophie from school a few times when he was stuck in meetings. Megan had taken Sophie for ice cream. Megan had helped Sophie with her homework. Sophie started talking about Aunt Megan constantly. "Aunt Megan taught me a new game. Aunt Megan braided my hair. Aunt Megan is so funny." I tried to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I should be grateful someone was helping with Sophie while I worked. Then one evening, Sophie ran up to me with her tablet, excited to show me pictures from her weekend. "Look, Mommy, we went to the zoo." I scrolled through the photos, my heart sinking with each swipe. There was Derek smiling broadly. There was Sophie holding a stuffed giraffe. And there was Megan standing between them like she belonged there. They looked like a family. A happy little family that did not include me. I confronted Derek that night after Sophie was asleep. "Why did you not tell me you were going to the zoo?" He shrugged. "It was spontaneous. You were working anyway. You could have texted me. I would have liked to know." He rolled his eyes. "Why are you making this into a big deal? Sophie had fun." "Is that not what matters?" I let it go. I should not have, but I did. The distance between Sophie and me grew wider every week. She used to run to me when I came home from work, excited to tell me about her day. Now she barely looked up from her tablet. When I asked about school, she gave one-word answers. "Fine. Good. Okay." But when Megan came over, Sophie transformed. She would leap off the couch, run into Megan's arms, chatter endlessly about everything. It was like watching my daughter love someone else more than me. One night, I walked past Sophie's room and heard her on the phone with Derek's mother. "Grandma, guess what? Mommy Megan took me to the beach last weekend. It was so fun, Mommy Megan." I stood frozen in the hallway, unable to breathe. Those 2 words felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. I waited until Sophie hung up, then went into her room. I sat on the edge of her bed, trying to keep my voice calm. "Sweetie, why did you call her Mommy, Megan?" Sophie looked up at me with innocent eyes. "Daddy said I can call her that because she takes care of me like a mommy does." I could not speak. I kissed her forehead, told her I loved her, and walked out. I made it to my car in the garage before I broke down. I sat there for over an hour, sobbing into my hands, wondering how my life had come to this. That night, I could not sleep. Derek was snoring beside me like nothing was wrong. His phone was on the nightstand, and around 2 a.m, it lit up with a notification. I was not planning to look, but the preview of the message was right there, impossible to ignore. It was from Megan. Last night was amazing. Sophie is lucky to have us as her real family. My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone. I knew Derek's password. He had given it to me years ago, back when we trusted each other completely. I opened their message thread and felt my world shatter. There were hundreds of messages. Love, confessions, plans for dates, complaints about me, Megan calling me dead weight, Derek agreeing, saying he was just waiting for the right time to ask for a divorce. There were photos of them together at restaurants, at hotels, at places Derek had told me were business trips. They had been having an affair for over a year, maybe longer. I screenshot everything, every message, every photo, every incriminating word. I emailed them all to myself. Then I put the phone back exactly where it was, lay down beside my cheating husband, and stared at the ceiling until dawn. I did not confront Derek right away. Some might call that weakness. I call it strategy. For an entire week I went through the motions. I woke up at 3 a.m., went to work, came home, cleaned, cooked, smiled when I was supposed to smile. Derek had no idea anything had changed. He was too busy texting Megan to notice the shift in his wife. On the 7th day, I decided to test him. I asked calmly and without accusation what Megan really meant to him. He did not even look up from his phone. "She is my best friend." "Why are you always so paranoid?" I mentioned that I knew they had been taking Sophie places without telling me. That got his attention. He looked at me with something like contempt. "Maybe if you were around more you would know what was happening in your own daughter's life." "I work because you made me," I said quietly. "Made you," he laughed. "I gave you a chance to be useful. And you know what? Sophie is happier now. She actually has fun. Maybe if you were more fun she would still call you mommy instead of calling Megan that." The words hung in the air like poison. I did not cry. I did not scream. I did not throw things or make accusations. I just looked at him, this man I had given 8 years of my life to, and said 2 words. "I understand." He seemed surprised by my calm, maybe disappointed that I did not give him the dramatic reaction he was expecting. He grabbed his golf clubs and left to meet his buddies, not bothering to say goodbye. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, I got to work. First, I called a divorce lawyer. Her name was Patricia, recommended by a co-worker at the diner who had gone through her own messy split. I told Patricia everything: the affair, the emotional abuse, the way Derek and Megan had deliberately turned my daughter against me. Patricia listened carefully, then told me I had a strong case. Very strong. Over the next 3 months, I became someone Derek did not recognize. On the surface, I was the same compliant wife. I cooked his meals, cleaned his house, said nothing when he went out with Megan, but underneath I was building my escape. I gathered more evidence. Credit card statements showing hotel charges. Receipts from jewelry stores for gifts I never received. More screenshots of their messages. I opened a secret bank account and started funneling my tips and paychecks into it. Every dollar I saved was another step toward freedom. I discovered that Derek's company had strict policies about workplace relationships, especially between supervisors and subordinates. Derek was Megan's team lead. Their affair was a direct violation of company policy. I documented everything and prepared a detailed report for HR. Through it all, I kept smiling. I kept saying "have fun" when Derek took Sophie somewhere with Megan. I kept pretending to be the defeated wife who had accepted her place. Derek had no idea what was coming. On a Monday morning, 3 months after his cruel words, everything fell into place. I had coordinated with Patricia to ensure maximum impact. At 9 a.m., a courier delivered divorce papers to our front door. Derek was working from home that day. I knew exactly when he would receive them. At the same time, HR at Derek's company received a comprehensive email detailing his affair with Megan, complete with evidence that violated multiple company policies. Patricia also filed for temporary custody, citing evidence of parental alienation and emotional abuse. I was at work when it all went down. Around 10:30, my phone started buzzing with calls from Derek. I did not answer. I knew he would come. The bell above the diner door rang at 11:15. I was wiping down table 7, the one near the window with the good morning light. I heard his footsteps before I saw him. Juliana, his voice was higher than usual, strained with panic. Please, we can talk about this. I will end things with Megan. I will do whatever you want. Please. I continued wiping the table, the same circular motion over and over. He moved closer, desperation seeping from every pore. Think about Sophie. She needs her father. You cannot do this to our family. I switched to a clean rag and started on the next table. Derek dropped to his knees right there in the middle of the diner. Customers at nearby tables stopped eating, watching the scene unfold. I am sorry, he said, voice cracking. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please do not destroy everything we built. I finally stopped wiping. I looked at him, really looked at him for the first time in months. This man who had made me feel worthless, who had told me I did not deserve to be tired, who had let another woman steal my daughter's love. You destroyed it, I said, my voice steady as stone. The moment you made me feel like I was nothing. I am just finishing what you started. I turned and walked into the kitchen, leaving him kneeling on the floor, surrounded by strangers with nowhere left to hide. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. The court granted me primary custody of Sophie. Derek was given supervised visitation on weekends. The evidence of his affair and the deliberate alienation of my daughter from me worked heavily in my favor. As for Megan, she was transferred to a different branch across the state. Derek was demoted from team lead and put on probationary status. Their affair, once exposed to the harsh light of reality and consequence, crumbled almost immediately. They blamed each other for getting caught. They fought about whose fault it was. Within weeks, they had broken up entirely. I moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment with Sophie. It was nothing fancy. The kitchen was tiny, the walls were thin, and the view was just a parking lot. But it was ours. It was peaceful. The first few weeks were hard. Sophie was confused, angry, hurt. She did not understand why she could not see Daddy whenever she wanted. She asked me once in a small voice that broke my heart if the divorce was her fault. I held her tight and told her the truth in words she could understand. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, I said. Mommy and Daddy both love you so much, but we cannot live together anymore. None of this is your fault. Do you understand? None of it. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Slowly, Sophie adjusted. I changed my work schedule to the afternoon shift so I could take her to school and pick her up. Every evening we cooked dinner together. She would stand on a little stool and stir the pasta while I chopped vegetables. We read books before bed. We talked about her day, her friends, her dreams. One night, about 3 months after the divorce, Sophie climbed into my lap and hugged me tighter than she had in a very long time. Mommy, she whispered. I am sorry. I called her that name. You are my only mommy. I love you. I cried. I held her and cried until I had no tears left. But they were not sad tears anymore. They were tears of relief, of healing, of hope. 6 months after the divorce, my life looked completely different. I was still at Rosie's diner, but I had been promoted to shift supervisor. The raise was modest, but it was mine. I had earned it. I started taking online classes in business management. I had this dream, still small and fragile, of opening my own little cafe someday. A place where tired mothers could come for good coffee and a moment of peace. Maybe it would happen, maybe it would not. But for the first time in years, I had dreams again. I made a friend at work named Brenda. She was in her 40s, divorced with 2 teenage sons. We would grab coffee after our shifts and talk about everything and nothing. She understood what it was like to rebuild your life from scratch. She never judged. She just listened. I learned something important through all of this. For years I thought my worth came from being chosen. Being chosen as a wife, as a mother, as someone worthy of love. I thought I needed Derek's approval, his validation, his acknowledgement of my sacrifices. But I was wrong. My worth was never his to give. It was always mine. Looking back, I do not hate Derek anymore. Hating him would only keep me chained to the past. He taught me something valuable even if he never meant to. He taught me that I am stronger than I ever knew, that I can survive betrayal and come out the other side, that I do not need anyone's permission to be tired, to be proud, to be enough. So if you are watching this right now, feeling invisible in your own home, feeling like everything you do goes unnoticed, I want you to hear me. You are enough. You have always been enough. Sometimes it takes losing everything to realize you had the strength inside you all along. Do not wait for someone else to see your worth. See it yourself. Choose yourself. Because you deserve someone who chooses you back. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like your sacrifices did not matter? Have you ever had to find your strength when everything seemed lost? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel so you do not miss more stories like this. And if you know someone who needs to hear these words today, share this video with them. Sometimes a story can change a life. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find your own strength, your own peace, your own beautiful new beginning. Take care of yourself. You matter more than you know.